Time to talk Buffalo Bills. We finally got a little clarity on the Stefon Diggs deal.
Did we? I mean, look.
I felt so. I mean, Brandon Beane comes out here and it says we had to get rid of this albatross of a contract.
And he's right. And look, I can also take it's refreshing. He signed him to that contract.
I know.
Right? So he's essentially saying, but I don't see this.
He's so upfront with the things that he says. I mean, the candidacy you get out of Brandon Beane is not NFL-like.
Okay, I will say this, being completely cynical. He's giving you candid there, so you buy the other BS that he's going to sell you down the road to other things, right? That being said, look, he's right.
Most of these guys are all BS.
But look, he's right. I mean, if Stefon Diggs was still producing to a level where they expected him to at this point, I don't think the contract is an albatross, right? I would compare it to the contract that Jeff Skinner signed with the Sabres a couple of years ago. It was the worst contract ever for the longest time, and all of a sudden he started producing again, and he was a value as things go up and down. Yeah, you had to get rid of it. And the way you hear him explain it now, it makes perfect sense why the Bills did what they did this season.
I mean, you throw in the fact Joe Brady is basically saying this is Josh Allen's offense. That gives me more concern that you're putting even more on Allen than you did before, that you took away the receiver that you thought was going to be an issue in the contract and the money going forward, which you could have done maybe sooner and spread that over the next couple of seasons. That being said, I mean, it almost as if you need to pay Allen more money now because you're basically asking him to now find a reason to play better given less talent on the roster.
I think that they're going to be leaning more into the run game. That was the success they had in the last 7-8 games of the season last year. They let James Cook do more, and James Cook went out and he cooked for them. I mean, he had a couple of drops as well as Diggs having a couple of drops. I think you're going to see a more balanced offense, not Josh Allen working more, trusting not only James Cook, but the rookie running back they took him.
It backs up my contention that 2025 is the key year. I mean, he doesn't want to compromise 25 and 26 by keeping that contract around, so he's taking the hit in 24 for it.
But that's the argument they made the last 2 years for the Chiefs, right? Look what happened there. I don't think...
but I think strategically those opinions were right. Kansas City just overcame them. They were good enough, which is to say Buffalo could do the same thing in 2024.
Look, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that, but there was a statement you made a couple weeks ago when this came up that makes me disagree with that idea, right? The fact that Josh Allen is still young and you can never, and I'll say it again as I knock on wood, you can't take any year with Josh Allen for granted the way that he plays ball, and you can't take any year with any quarterback for granted the way they play ball. Robert Griffin III was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy had one great season, got hurt, and ends up being a backup.
It sounds like they're taking this season for granted for that next season, to make that next leap, to go get your big wide receiver in 2025.
I see. I don't think, yes, I think the plan is to go get a wide receiver from somewhere, whether it's the draft or free agency. I don't think it's taking this year for granted. I think they legitimately believe with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, the tight ends there, and the weapons they have on offense with the running game, that they can win this division and go deep in the play.
He's like, pushing up to 27, which is prime. He's no longer the young quarterback. He's a quarterback in his prime.
Yeah, no, he's 28 this season. Right, no, you're right. He is in his prime, which I think is another reason why the Bills said, let's go do something. Let's go see what you can do here. It's your team. Go.
So you guys, after the fact, on board with trading Stefon Diggs?
I am still not on board with that because you really haven't put anybody in his place yet, but it looks like they're going to roll the dice.
And you?
The way that Beane speaks, like you said, the headache wasn't worth what the check was versus the production. I think he had no choice.
We'll see what that's like in week 7.
I love that he offered that up, though, calling it an albatross of a contract and then doing what he did. It was fascinating. I love hearing that guy speak.